Ladies and gentlemen, what just transpired at that party will go down as one of the most astounding scenes in the history of celebrities. Replete with flying champagne, screaming screams, bodyguards frozen like statues, and Remy Ma going utterly bonkers in front of the full list of VIP guests, because Remy Ma pointed straight at Claressa Shields, trembled with wrath, and said, "You stole everything from me." Among flashing cameras, slow-motion dance fights, and expensive clothing. Hold on. Everyone. Not the attention, the man, or even the Instagram following. Everything. Not only was this outburst loud, but it was also purposeful, as if she had spent weeks practicing that sentence in front of the mirror. At first, security didn't even move. They believed it to be a show. The turmoil, however, started when the glass shattered and Remy sprang across the VIP table as if it were the last boss level. What precisely did Claressa take, then? Why did Remy jeopardized her whole career in a single public outburst? And with pirated audio already making the rounds online, who managed to capture every moment of it in 4K? You had best settle down because what we're going to reveal next will completely change the course of this tale. Let's dissect everything. It began similarly to other A-list events. Imported champagne, velvet ropes, and a dramatic guest list. However, the events that transpired at Brandon's Celebrity Bar in downtown Atlanta were more than just rumors. Remy Ma's fingerprints were all over it, and it was a full-fledged emotional nuclear explosion. According to witnesses, the celebration was going strong, with famous people from all facets of sports and hip-hop mingling. Cardi B was seen drinking a glitter-covered margarita at the corner booth. Rick Ross was occupied with showing off in front of the selfie wall. Ice Spice even made a brief cameo before leaving as soon as the situation heated up. And by heat up, we mean a drama that will burn the guest list and sear the walls. However, because this is more than simply a party, let's go back in time. This has to do with treachery. This has to do with Remy Ma. Claressa Shields, the unbeaten boxing champion, is the subject of this story. She entered the party wearing Re's worst nightmare. And no, fashion is not what we are discussing. We are discussing Papoose, yes, exactly. The man who stood with Remy Ma when she was imprisoned, hailed as Black Love's last soldier. The same man who wrapped around Loyalty Road for her when she was down. Claressa Shields had now publicly booed that man. Not only did they boot up, but they were also holding hands, laughing, talking, and even performing the two-step together, much like in a Tyler Perry finale. This is when things start to get nasty. Remy Ma was unaware that Claressa and Papoose would be there together. According to many individuals within the establishment, including an unnamed bartender who claimed she was too well-tipped to tell the truth. Yes, she did anticipate Claressa, but Papoose was the real surprise. She didn't anticipate ribs. According to one insider, Remy was already tense before entering. After she sobbed in the parking lot, her glam staff reportedly had to reapply her eyeliner twice. According to a different witness who works as a stylist for a number of hip-hop and love artists, Remy informed her, "I'm flipping every damn table in there if I see that girl with my man." She did. Spoiler warning. The room's temperature plummeted by 10 as soon as Remy walked in. The DJ briefly stopped the rhythm because he sensed a change in the universe. Instead of taking the welcoming pictures, Remy strolled right by the photo booth and looked directly at Claressa across the room as if they were weighing in. Furthermore, Claressa didn't flinch, grinned over his shoulder. Oh no. Hip-hop's Bronx Pitbull, Remy Ma, made the decision that this evening would not conclude with silent side looks or courteous shade at that precise moment. No. Remy was prepared for a full-fledged moment of WrestleMania, and she gave birth, sweetheart. As if the red carpet owed her answers, she strode across the room. Clicking heels resembles a countdown to catastrophe. Her hands were clenched, and her eyes were glassy with a mixture of sadness and wrath. Security monitored her movements but took no action. She wasn't really doing anything yet, after all. That quickly changed. One visitor compared what transpired next to the emotional Remy didn't simply go up to them. She burst out with phones recording and cameras flashing. Remy gestured to Claressa and uttered the now famous line, "I've already been to hell. Everything was taken from me by you." Everything. Not only Papoose, not only the sympathy of the general populace. Remy was discussing the story, the loyalty, and the legacy. Claressa added insult to injury by laughing. Yes, you heard correctly. One video clip that was leaked claims that Claressa genuinely laughed. "I won, and I'm not even sweating it. was the tone of the laugh. Remy lost it at that point. Her beverage equivalent of a meteor impact went flying, splattering over a luxury garment that cost $4,000 and was worn by an unnamed person who was undoubtedly not involved. Papoose attempted to defuse the situation by getting to his feet, but it was too late. With the vigor of a woman who has been deceived often, Remy threw herself across the VIP booth. Security rushed in a matter of seconds. The guests let out a yell. "World star!" was shouted because, of course, they did. In the midst of the confusion, a person's stiletto fell off and landed on the DJ's table. However, this was more than simply a sloppy moment. So let's take a moment to be serious. This woman was on the verge of something. Remy Ma has maintained her composure despite jail time, public controversies, and highs and lows in her career. However, this obs the man she created a public fairy tale with was cozy with a woman twice as popular and half her industry age. Something inside her was broken by that. It was more than a scene. It was devastating. As well as the internet, you know it blew up, don't you? In less than 20 minutes, 5 distinct perspectives of the event were shared on X, the former Twitter, each accompanied by a bootleg emoji. Instantly hashtags like hashtag RemyVS, CLARISA, hashtag PAPAPOOSE, explained, and hashtag RemySnap began to gain popularity. It gets better, though, since it seems that a member of the DJ's entourage recorded the entire altercation, including a whispered discussion that was missed at the time. A suspicious-sounding voice as when Claressa says, "He was never yours to begin with." Boom. This would be checkmate in stilettos if it were chess. And that's precisely the point at which the narrative transitions from drama to a thorough inquiry. Because Remy wasn't handcuffed when she was let out by security minutes after the altercation, she was not taken into custody. Furthermore, our sources claim that she wasn't even prohibited from entering the location. What came next then? Remy went where? When Claressa discovered that the cameras were still recording, how did she respond? Things take a more sinister and perverse turn at that point. Because a second video from the parking lot was revealed just when you thought Remy was no longer involved. Aggravation of the everyone was wondering if this was the start of something far worse after seeing the footage outside the venue. Let's get started. Atlanta's midnight parking lot. And just when we believed that the match between Remy Ma and Claressa Shields had concluded with a viral scream and a discarded drink, boom, another aspect emerged. It wasn't from the club this time, it came from the outside. The iPhone video wasn't shaky? Probably from a paparazzo hiding in the valet bushes with a lens long enough to zoom in on heartbreak. This was clear, well-lit, high-definition turmoil. Remy is seen pacing hard, taking off his heels, shifting his wig slightly, and smudging his mascara at the start of the video. She appeared to be leaving behind everything she had ever known. Formed a fist. This time, she wasn't shouting. She was repeating to herself in a whisper, "She took everything. She stole everything." However, out of nowhere, a recognizable voice calls from behind her, "Remy, please don't exacerbate this. It's a Papoose." And at that point, Remy whirls around with tears streaming down her cheeks and yells back, "Worse. I created you. Even when I was imprisoned, I kept us down. You're now out here praising her as if I didn't exist." The world experienced its second viral moment of the evening in the blink of an eye. The sound is harsh, unpolished, and authentic. Some claim that it is staged. It's too real to fake, according to some. In any case, it smashed through the internet like a sledgehammer. Inside Hours, P4 and Remy breakdown were shared more than 87,000 times. The kicker is this though. The final 10 seconds of the video were muffled by someone. What is concealed there? 2. According to unnamed insiders, Remy made threats of legal action, alluded to revealing long-kept truths, and even brought up a child. Yes, you heard correctly. Remy yelled at Papoose, according to a leaked direct message purportedly sent from a burner account connected to her inner circle. "Before I do, tell her the truth about that baby." "Hold on, police Scarlett." Scarlett is a baby? Police. Everything we know about this love triangle turns into a real labyrinth of treachery, deceit, and perhaps even cover-ups if this is accurate. There are rumors that Claressa might have had a child with Papoose prior to the public disclosure of their relationship. Although none of that has been verified yet, some claim it has to do with Remy's own child and a covert betrayal involving earlier DNA testing. Claressa Shields, meanwhile, are completely unconcerned. Claressa posted on Instagram the morning following the incident, grinning. Has already removed a video that they collaborated on. Production of a documentary was halted, and rumors are spreading that Ree's fans would boycott her next bout. Conversely, Remy is also not unaffected. After being restored following